Hello and welcome to Natural Balance, where body, mind, and spirit connect. I'm your host, Mia Signs. And in this episode with me, I have Patty Alfonso. Now, I'm smiling really big because I've known Patty for many, many years. I love this woman, and you will too. She helps us to love and understand our body. I talk to my body now like I never have before, and I owe that to Patty. There's a lot of body awareness people, and I also teach body love and stuff, but I'm excited for you to meet her. So before I keep rambling on about how beautiful she is, I'd like to meet Patty. So welcome, Patty. It's great to have you.
Hi, Mia. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this. I'm really excited to share some of the tips and tools that you've learned by hanging out with me and interviewing me on different things, and that I use in my business. They are definitely a different way of being with your body. So I'm really, really excited and grateful to be here.
And I love the fact that you allow, well, in your teachings, you allow us to honor every little aspect about our body. I used to not ask my body this intuitive stuff like, hey, body, what do you want to eat today? And checking in. It's literally checking in with who we are feeling at that, or what we're feeling at that moment. Can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Thank you. Let me take this off. I can, there we go. That's much better. As I said, it's an invitation to a different way of being with your body. I'm an Access Consciousness certified facilitator, and these tools that I myself in my own journey started to use are what inspired me to share them with the world, because they are so brilliant and so different. Most of us are used to someone telling us what to do with our bodies, whether it's a nutritionist or a doctor or whoever it is in your life. There's always someone else telling us, hey, you have to eat this many meals a day, and this is what you have to eat, and this is what you have to do, and you should work out this many times a day, and you should get this much sleep. And so there's all of these kinds of rules on what it is that we are supposed to be doing with our bodies. But in Access Consciousness, we actually include our bodies in that conversation. So do we want to eat healthy? Absolutely. And what if you asked your body, what would you like to eat today? What would you like to wear today? How would you like to move today? What would be fun for you today? And this is you having that conversation with your body. And it's definitely not something that we are taught to do in this reality. And it is absolutely something really different. But when I look at it, and this is one of the things that always really in the beginning really sort of was an aha moment for me, is that all of those things, food, your clothes, what you're driving, the bed that you sleep in, all of that is actually for your body. So there's you, the being, and there is your body. And so if you didn't have a body, would you need to eat? Would you need to buy clothes? Right. Would you need money? Would you need a car? You wouldn't actually require any of those things. So then why not include your body in that conversation? So let's play.
I love that. And if we didn't have a body, like you were saying, we wouldn't even be here on planet Earth.
That's right. It would be a very different life if we didn't have a body. I'll tell you that right now. And that's a totally different conversation.
Exactly. So let's talk about communing with your body.
Yes, communion. So what is communion? A lot of people sometimes talk about having a connection with your body or a relationship with your body. And in Access Consciousness, we talk about having communion with your body. And what communion is including everything and judging nothing. That is also what consciousness is. It is knowing everything, having everything, including everything in your life, and not having any kind of judgment about it. So to have communion with your body, let's say you wake up one morning and your body would like a green juice. Well, if you didn't have a judgment about that green juice or what it's supposed to taste like or all that good stuff that sometimes comes up for people, and you just allowed yourself to have that green juice, then being present with that energy without any kind of judgment, and then being able to choose that. And let's say the next morning you woke up and your body wanted hamburger and french fries. So again, okay, there's that energy. This is what my body is craving and desiring at this moment, and choosing that without judgment. It is the energy of judgment when we decide that something is right or wrong or good or bad. That energy of polarity, that's the energy that actually is destructive. If we can be with our bodies without any kind of judgment, then that is a more generative and creative energy. You know, what size does your body want to be? And what if you didn't have any judgment around what that is? And sometimes, you know, our bodies, they want one thing and we, the beings, want something else, you know, so then it becomes a conversation with your body. Okay, body, I get that this is what you would like, but you know what? That doesn't actually really work for me. Right. You know, what if we did this? And then you actually can negotiate a little bit with your body. If you treated your body the way that you would treat a dear friend, what could that create and change with your body? Now, I can perceive people like, but I don't understand. How do you talk to your body and how do you hear what it wants? And I can't do that. I can hear you guys. So one of the easiest tools to use in that situation is that you ask a question. And what you want to do is you want to perceive, you want to sense the energy. If it is light and expansive, then that is what is true for you in that moment. If it's heavy and a contraction, then that is what is not true for you in that moment. For example, I'll give you a little example. Recently, my body has been demanding to go to yoga. Now, me, Patty, the being, really doesn't like yoga. It's not my favorite form of movement. I don't like it. But my body was being pretty loud. And as you play with these tools and develop that communion with your body, then this will get easier. So I go to this yoga class and I'm doing the poses and I'm like complaining in my head, oh, I hate yoga and I don't like this. This is so uncomfortable. This is so boring. I hate blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, body, are you having a good time? Does this work for you? And my body, it just got really light and expansive and happy. And I was like, okay, fine. We'll do yoga. Fine. You know?
That's funny. I love that.
So it's really about having that dialogue and that conversation with your body and negotiating and playing with your body and what it is that your body would like and not like and how to navigate that. You know, you're here in this world, on this earth, in this reality with this beautiful body. And if you weren't here, then your body wouldn't be here either. And so the amount of gratitude that your body has for you as a being, you know, the amount of gratitude that your body's like, yay, we get to be in this world and we get to eat food and we get to wear nice things, you know, that's all for your body. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys that energy of gratitude with your body and for your body.
It's interesting because we all know what, you know, the sexual form or connection to our body feels like. So if we take that even a step further to do like what you're saying, give gratitude, allow our body to experiment in other ways and talk to us, that's really beautiful. You know, it's not just about how we feel sensually or sexually. It's, you know, like you say, what do you want to eat today, body?
Yeah. And, you know, speaking of sensuality and that sexual energy, these are actually the body's domain. If you didn't have a body, would you be able to have sex? If you didn't have a body, would you be able to receive the gentle, sensual touch of your lover? So these are also things to include your body in when you're choosing body. Would it be fun to have sex with that person?
Right.
Because it's the bodies that are actually having the copulation. You may want to include your body in that as well.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. I love that. Let's talk about the elements of intimacy.
Yes, these are my favorite. Usually when we think about intimacy, we usually think about, first, a lot of people think about being intimate with their lover, right? They think about sex. And we usually think about intimacy, intimacy as in having that with another person. But the Access Consciousness, there's 5 elements of intimacy. And the way that I have been choosing to include these in my life and the way that I work with them with my clients is in having intimacy with you and having intimacy with your body. Now, the 5 elements of intimacy, which we've already touched on a little bit as we were talking, are trust, honor, allowance, gratitude, and vulnerability. Now, we played a little bit with gratitude, being grateful for your body. What about being grateful for you as a being? Being grateful for everything that you're creating in the world, being grateful for every moment of everything. So being grateful for you and being grateful that you have a body. Our bodies are such magical, I like to refer them as beings, because they have their own consciousness, they have their own innate brilliance. And when I think about that, I'm like, oh, bodies are so magical. So that's gratitude. Trust. Would you be willing, first of all, to trust you, to trust that you are going to choose what is going to work for you, to trust that you're going to do what it is that you need to do to take care of you, to trust your body, that your body is going to let you know what your body desires and requires. One of the things about trusting my body that I really learned on a visceral level was when I started taking pole dancing classes, and my body was so excited about these pole dancing classes, and I would go to class and I was really committed, right? In the first year, like, I went committedly. And as we learned all of these different tricks on the pole, there was a huge level of trusting my body, that my body wasn't going to let me fall, that my body was enjoying what we were doing, and just trusting my body's agility, trusting that what we were doing was creating more for us. So, and I trust my body. When my body says it needs a burger, I trust that that's what my body requires, that there's an energy, that there's a vitamin, that there's something in that food that my body requires. Allowance is where everything is an interesting point of view. Would you be willing to have allowance for you? Allowance for your choices, allowance for everything you've created, allowance for your moments of insanity, allowance for your choices that weren't so great, and allowance for your body. You get that urge that you would like to have a burger. Would you be willing to be an allowance for that? And maybe you don't need to eat the whole burger. Maybe it's just a couple of bites. And then you get the energy and you get what that food was gifting to your body. And then that's it. So being really aware with your body. Vulnerability, I mean, this word is so misunderstood. Sometimes we use this word in a way that, like, oh, they were vulnerable to attack. Or they were vulnerable to being mistreated that way, as if vulnerability was a weakness.
Right.
But being vulnerable, lowering all of your walls and all of your barriers, and being really present with the energy, being really present with other people, being willing to just be that open, some people say the open wound, but that doesn't really, that just sounds really kind of weird to me, but maybe that resonates for someone on this call. But just being open, receiving all energies, being present with everything, being vulnerable with your body, no walls, no barriers between you and your body. It's sometimes those walls and those barriers that prevent us from having that communion with our body, because those walls and those barriers actually create a separation rather than a communion. So for me, vulnerability is really about having no walls and no barriers and being present to everything. And then honor, treating yourself with regard, treating your body with regard. You know, we always think of like honoring someone else, but what about you? And, you know, sometimes people may think that this is quote unquote a little bit selfish, right? But I've never really seen being selfish as a bad thing. I think that we have to learn how to treat ourselves and be present with ourselves and honor ourselves and trust ourselves before we can really have that with another person. And with myself, I include my body in that because it's my body and me. You know, I'm never alone. My body's always with me.
Yeah.
So thank you. Those are the 5 elements of intimacy. And if we can find ways to play with these, with ourselves and with our body, then we can create that communion. I interrupted you. Go on.
Well, you know, the honoring and the vulnerability, these are also things that we have that we look for in a relationship with someone else. Mm-hmm. So I love that they're included in this.
And notice there was no mention of sex.
Right.
Or copulation.
Right.
Intimacy and sex and copulation are 2 completely different things that people kind of go lump together, and they confuse. Like if you have sex with someone, then that means you've been intimate. No, you haven't. You kind of just put your body parts together. Right. Intimacy is something completely different that you create and build beyond just putting your body parts together with someone else. Right. Although that's fun too.
let's not, you know, leave that aside.
No, that's very important too.
And it is important to understand the elements of them, because when we look, we don't think about having as much honor for ourselves, when really it's the most important thing. Us first, before another. As you were talking and I was listening to you, I could see me, it's so funny, I could see me running around town talking to myself and how that would look to others, you know. But really, this whole journey of self-love, self-expression, connection, the communion is about connecting on all these levels. And when we do, there is so much peace, joy, and happiness that we look at everything different. Life, everything is different, right?
Yes, when you can have these elements of intimacy with you and with your body, there is nothing that can stop you, destroy you, make you feel bad about yourself. There's nothing that you will be the effect of. And you will have that sense of joy and glory, you know, when you can really embody these with yourself. It's really, really quite magnificent. This was one of the first things in Access Consciousness that like got my attention, that I really started applying to my life. And I can't tell you how much things have changed, how much things change in my clients' lives when they start really applying these elements of intimacy and figuring out, what does that mean to you to trust yourself? What does that look like for you and for your body? Because it's going to be different for everyone. What does honoring you look like? You know, I'm currently, right in these 10 seconds, living in Florida. And, we've talked about this, and I don't really like it here. There was a purpose for me being here for a little while, but I've known for a while that it's time to go. And I had to honor myself, even though it's not maybe the best timing. I was like, I need to honor myself, and I need to let the world know that I can honor myself with this choice. I'm not happy here, so why would I stay here? It's time to go. And then choosing whatever it is that you need to choose to honor you, no matter what anyone else says. There's people that aren't so happy that I'm leaving and I'm having to break my lease. But you know what? Because I'm honoring myself and I've made that demand for me and for my body, everything is falling into place a lot easier, So having your own back, taking care of you and honoring you, that will always create more than if you're constantly giving up pieces of yourself or parts of yourself for other people, for other things. That just never works. Trust me, I've tried it many times.
Yeah. I think it's really brilliant when we can begin to feel what it's like. We talk about this, we want to express it, but when you feel it, like you said, everything's falling into place. You can feel that the energy is different. That you're doing amazing things when you're listening.
And when it's light and expansive, even if it doesn't make sense, you choose that. Right. This move right now doesn't make logical sense at all. People are like, what are you doing? You're crazy. I'm like, it doesn't make sense, but I'm following the energy. It's light and expansive, and I'm going to choose it. And I know that the universe will have my back because I have my back. So I know that,
Yeah,
and
well said.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. We'll have to have another little segment maybe on the elements of sex, because that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, and that's a good one too.
Yeah.
So you have a free gift for everybody. You want to talk about it?
I do. If you go to my website, and it's pattyalfonso.sexy, right on the home page, there is a free gift. I did a class a little while ago, not very long ago, called Being with Your Body. And it's more around what we've talked about today. It's an hour and a half long class, maybe it's an hour, where I facilitate people around being with their bodies. There's a lot more tools and a lot more tips. So you should go to pattyalfonso.sexy and get your free gift today.
And I just saw her new remodeled website, and you guys love it.
There's so much free stuff on the website. You could just go grab it all.
Yeah, that's what I love. I love websites to be a resource site, because that's when it's serving humanity.
Absolutely. And there's a whole, in the shop, I believe there's a whole section on free, and I've got maybe 6 or 7 different downloads and calls and PDFs and videos on all kinds of tools that you can start using right away. So I love to gift and to gift and to gift and to receive and to receive.
Awesome. That's beautiful. Wonderful. What would you like a last thought from your heart or your beautiful brain?
Oh gosh. I wonder what it would be like if we lived in a world that included bodies. I wonder what it would be like if people got out of judgment of their bodies, if people got out of judgment of themselves. I wonder what we could create then. Your body is a fabulous source for creation. And I'm not talking about babies. You can actually use your body as a compass to guide you and play with you and create with you in this life. So I wonder what it would be like if people really embraced that and started choosing that and stepping into that more and more and more. I know that my life, my business, everything changed when I started including my body. So how does it get better than that? What else is possible with your body that you haven't imagined?
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, honey, for joining
Thank
me.
you, honey. Yeah. I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining. See you soon.